Most men think strength means never changing your mind. They see flexibility as weakness, a sign of doubt, confusion, or lack of backbone. But they're wrong. True strength isn't stubbornness, it's the courage to change your mind when truth demands it, and the discipline to stand firm when it doesn't. We've been fed a false ideal of masculinity. Never back down, stick to your guns, don't even change. It sounds noble, it sounds tough, but what it really creates is blindness, broken relationships, failed mission, years wasted defending an illusion, all because a man was too proud to admit reality had moved on without him. I know this because I've lived. There was a time I clung to a decision I knew was wrong, just because I didn't want to look weak. I told myself I was being disciplined. Really, I wasn't. I was being scared. Scared of what people would think, scared of losing face. So I doubled down, I pushed harder, even though every sign told me to move. And like every man who fights truth long enough, I lost time, energy, direction. That failure taught me something success never could. Rigidity breaks, flexibility endures. A man who refuses to bend will eventually snap. A man who learns to adapt becomes unbreakable. From boyhood, men are conditioned to equate stubbornness with strength. Don't quit, never give in. Those lessons have value in the right context. Perseverance builds character. But when that same energy turns into ego, it destroys you. The truth is, most men aren't driven. They're just afraid of being wrong. Admitting you've taken the wrong path feels like defeat. Pivoting feels like surrender, so you stay locked in, hoping the world will adjust to your willpower. But reality doesn't bend to pride. It only respects truth. That's why so many men wasting years climbing the wrong mountain, just to realize the peak they fought for wasn't theirs to begin with. Stubbornness masquerades as strength, but it's really fear in disguise. Fear of humiliation, fear of uncertainty, fear of change. It's not courage to fight what's real, it's delusion. If you don't adapt, you get left behind. So stop confusing stubbornness with strength. Refusing to change doesn't make you powerful, it makes you predictable. The man who adapts, learns, and adjusts isn't weak, he's wise. If stubbornness is a cage, adaptability is freedom. Think of water. It doesn't resist the rocks in its path, it flows around them, it finds a way forward. That's resilience, not force, but flexibility. A man who's adaptable doesn't waste energy fighting reality. He studies it, he aligns with it. But here's the problem. Today's world glorifies reaction, not reflection. Most men change their opinions like they're changing their shirts. Every time someone louder disagrees, that's not adaptability. That's instability. We need to draw a line here because not every change is growth. Real adaptability isn't about bending to every new trend, belief, ideology that crosses your feet. It's about bending only when truth demands it. The goal isn't to be soft clay molded by others. It's to be tempered steel that bends only under real heat. Adaptability doesn't mean surrendering your principles. It means refining them through reality. If you abandon your values every time you face opposition, you are not evolving, you're escaping. The adaptable man doesn't chase approval. He chases truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it burns. In the age of social media, the loudest voice often wins, not the wisest one. And if you are not careful, you will mistake volume for vision. You will see someone living differently, talking confidently, and you will start doubting yourself. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I should think like them, maybe I'm behind. But here's the thing. Just because someone looks sure doesn't mean they're right. And just because you are uncertain doesn't mean you're wrong. There is a kind of fake adaptability that spreads online. The constant reinvention of self. The endless pursuit of the new. One week you're disciplined, the next week you're just flowing. Then you hear another voice and suddenly you are rewriting your entire belief system again. That's not evolution, that's confusion. Adaptability means your methods can change, but your principle don't. Stay rooted in what's true. Honesty, courage, responsibility, discipline, those never bend. But the way you live them, that can and should evolve. Marcus Aurelius questioned everything, not because he wanted to be trendy, but because he wanted to be true. He re-examined his beliefs daily, not to please the world, but to align closer with nature, logic, and virtue. That's real adaptability. It's not reaction, it's refinement. Before you change your mind, ask yourself, am I changing because it's true or because it's easier? That question will save you years, because most people don't change for truth, they change for comfort. They bend when pressure rises, not when reality shifts. That's not adaptability, that's cowardice. The strongest man walk in a narrow line, soft enough to learn, firm enough to stand. Too rigid and you break, too fluid and you lose yourself. The art is balance. You stay open-minded without being easily moved. You stay grounded in principle while staying flexible in method. That's the paradox of real strength. You must be both the mountain and the river, rooted yet flowing. A wise man once said, the goal is not to be unmovable. The goal is to move only when truths move. That's adaptability anchored in reality. And when you live that way, you stop fearing change, you stop fearing being wrong, you stop fearing evolution, because every shift brings you closer to what's real. The hardest thing for a man to kill isn't fear, it's ego. Ego is what keeps you stuck in the wrong fight long enough after truth has left the battlefield. It's what makes you defend a lie because you've already invested too much pride in it. It's what whispers, don't admit you're wrong, you will look weak. But here's the truth, you don't look weak. When you admit you're wrong, you look free. Ego changes you to outdated versions of yourself. It keeps you defending beliefs that no longer serve you. It convinces you that consistency is more important than clarity. That's how man wasted years trying to protect an image instead of pursuing truth. You see in business, relationships, politics, everywhere, a man builds something and he becomes so attached to it that he can't move it. Even when the facts change, even when reality screams move, he can't. Because to him, moving feels like dying. But ego doesn't protect strength, it destroys it. It turns lessons into losses and opportunities into ashes. A man who believes he's never wrong is unteachable. And the man who can't be taught can't evolve. He becomes outdated, spiritually, mentally, professionally. The Stoics knew this well. They saw humility not as submission, but as a weapon. To say I may be wrong is not to bow down. It's to sharpen your blade, because only when you see your blind spots can you correct them. Real power begins where ego ends. When you drop the need to be right, you gain the freedom to be real. That's the foundation of adaptability. Adaptability isn't just a mindset, it's a discipline. A muscle you can train every day, like physical strength. Mental flexibility doesn't come from reading quotes about it. It comes from practice. Here is how to build it. Seek truth over comfort. The adaptable man doesn't chase validation. He asks hard questions. Is this still working? Is this actually true? Am I doing this out of pride or purpose? Every time you ask those questions, you break ego's grip a little more. You become less reactive, more objective. You stop living from emotion and start living from evidence. Most people avoid those questions because they expose illusion. But that's the point. You can't align with reality while hiding from it. Comfort keeps you stagnant. Truth sets you free. Even when it hurts. Practice small pivots. Adaptability doesn't start with massive changes. It starts with small, controlled adjustments. Try a new workout routine. Test a new creative angle. Change the way you handle one daily habit. Then observe it. Did it make you better or worse? If better, double down. If worse, recalibrate. That process trains you to detach your identity from your decisions. You learn to say, that didn't work, I'll adjust instead of I failed. Each pivot strengthens your flexibility. You realize that change isn't chaos, it's collaboration. Surround yourself with contrarians. An echo chamber feeds your ego, a contrarian feeds your growth. The adaptable man deliberately seeks people who challenge him. Not to argue, but to sharpen his mind. Your first instinct is to defend it. Good, that's how you test it. If your beliefs collapse under pressure, it wasn't truth, it was preference. You don't need yes men around you, you need truth tellers. Men who will call you out when your pride blinds you. Men who will say you were wrong and here's why. That's not disrespect, that's brotherhood. Reflect and recalibrate. Adaptability is reflection in motion. You can't evolve if you never stop to ask, what did I learn? Journal weekly. Write down what's working, what's failing, and what needs to change. This small ritual separates stagnant from the evolving. Most men wait for crisis to change. The wise man adjusts before the storm hits. Reflection keeps you ahead of pain. So let's put this contrast in aside. The stubborn man believes I must be right. The adaptable man believes I must find what's true. The stubborn man reacts to feedback with defensiveness, emotion. The adaptable man reacts with curiosity, analysis. The stubborn man ties his identity to outcomes. The adaptable man anchors his identity in principles. The stubborn man avoids discomfort. The adaptable man seeks correction. The stubborn man grows slowly, painfully. The adaptable man grows continuously, deliberately. The stubborn man fights reality and calls it strength. The adaptable man aligns with it and calls it wisdom. The stubborn man clings to control. The adaptable man flows with truth. Guess which one wins over time? Here's the paradox. You must hold two truths at once. You must be flexible enough to change. You must be grounded enough not to change for the wrong reasons. If you lean too far in either direction, you lose yourself. Too rigid and you become bitter, a statue of who you used to be. Too fluid and you become lost. Adaptability is about moving when truths move, not when emotion does. It's not about agreeing with everyone. It's about being in line with reality. Even when it goes against your beliefs. That's the kind of adaptability that builds kings, because the man who's loyal to truth over ego is unstoppable. He may fail, he may fall, but he will never stay stuck, because he always recalibrating towards reality. Leadership at its core is adaptability in service of truth. A true leader doesn't claim to be right, he clings to what's real. When the facts change, he changes. When the mission demands a pivot, he pivots. Not because he's weak, but because he's committed to winning, not to being admired. The world is full of men who would rather appear consistent than effective. They care more about looking in control than being in truth. Don't be one of them. Be the man who listens more than he argues, who studies more than he speaks. Because the world doesn't reward pride, it rewards alignment. The adaptable man wins because he plays the real game, not the imaginary one in his head. Adaptability without truth is chaos. Truth without adaptability is stagnation. You need both. Truth is your anchor, adaptability is your movement. Together, they make you unstoppable. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it." Truth first, always. Change your methods, change your mind, change your strategy, but never your integrity. That's the line between evolution and corruption. When you live by truth, adaptability becomes your superpower. You stop fighting life. You start flowing with it. You no longer need to be right. You just need to be real. True strength isn't tragedy. It's not about holding your ground at all costs. It's about knowing when to move and have the courage to do it. The world will test you. It will challenge what you believe, what you value, and how you live. You can respond with pride, or you can respond with awareness. The stubborn man breaks trying to control the storm. The adaptable man bends with it and becomes stronger after it passes. So ask yourself, where are you being stubborn right now? Where are you refusing to see what's true because your ego doesn't want you to admit it? What truth have you been ignoring because it threatens who you think you are? That's your battlefield. Start there. Face it. Bend where you must. Stand where you should. Adapt not to please others, but to serve truth. Because when you move in alignment with what's real, you become untouchable. You stop breaking, you start becoming. Strength isn't about standing still, it's about standing true, no matter how often truth asks you to move. So, see you in the next one. Peace.